Howdy, y'all. It's Curious Raven on this Thursday. I have some cryptid stories, sleep stories, kind of a mix. So, hope y'all enjoy. Number 1. I'm a 19-year-old guy from Romania. I live in a remote village, 14 kilometers from a main road. My village is surrounded on one side by a big pine forest. Since I was a boy, I've always felt uneasy around that forest. I would only enter it with my father when we gathered wood. But a year ago, one of my cousins played a prank on me and tied my dog to a tree at the edge of the forest at dusk. When I saw my dog missing, I went and started searching for him. I started to hear his barks and whimpers at the edge of the forest. I rushed to him, cut him loose. As soon as I did, he ran and whimpered, absolutely terrified. As I was about to follow him back home, I get a feeling of being watched that runs down my spine. I try not to give into it as I turn around and walk back home normally. When my grandmother was alive, she always would tell me about Strigoi, a kind of half ghoul, half vampire, and about Bryasolisi, a sort of a dog man. I always laughed at her stories thinking about them, but just as folk tales to scare children. That night I left my window half open, but still locked because it was hot. And as I was beginning to drift asleep, I hear this dry breathing outside my window. It sounded like an old smoker on their deathbed. As I heard this, a primal fear set inside me. I began sweating and I couldn't move for what felt like ages. After a minute, adrenaline kicked in, and I jumped out of my bed and closed the window. From that day forward, I never kept my window open at night. I still sometimes hear taps on my wall at night. Curious Raven here. I'm sorry if I pronounced those wrong. I tried my best. Number 2. So tonight I was standing on my porch and I hear this low, almost mechanical sounding hum. Almost like it could be a hum from a transformer box, a sound. It's always only last a couple of seconds, and only every now and then, and only at night. But I have heard the sound throughout my life. It's very familiar to me. No matter where I am, I have heard it multiple places since I was a child. I currently live out of the country, formerly the city. Even if I'm moving, when I hear it, it always sounds the same volume, like it's always the same distance away. I don't know what changed tonight, but something clicked in my mind that it's not a normal noise made by nature or anything else I can think of. I don't know what I used to think it was, maybe an animal, but I know that it can't be any animal that would be in every place I've heard it, and I've only heard it at night. My partner was also standing outside with me and heard it, and I asked if she had ever heard it before, and she said that she has always heard it as well, and she realized she's never realized what the sound was either. Has anyone else ever heard this? If anyone knows what this could be, I'd appreciate it. My bet's a Wendigo or a skinwalker. I'll try to get a recording of the sound next time I hear it. Number 3. Okay, so I've never believed in cryptids ever. My sister, 22 female, and I, 19 female, like to joke about a lot when we hang out outside at night, which is almost every night. Tonight we sat on the porch rather than our chairs by the woods because we wanted to admire the Christmas lights we just put up. Mind you, we live almost in the middle of nowhere surrounded by woods. We know what our neighbors' donkeys, cows, dogs, roosters, and any other animal normally sounds like. We've even had our fair share of run-ins with screaming foxes. That's why it was horrifying when tonight at 3:05 a.m. we heard a roar/scream from the woods, only like 50 to 100 feet away from us. Clear as day. Hardly any echo. We ran straight inside and locked the doors. No one around us or in our family were awake or young enough to think that it would be a fun prank. We don't know how we feel. We tried thinking of every animal around and none are known for making that noise. What do we do? What animal could that be? Number 4. It started around 2 weeks before Halloween. I live with my fiance, have a single cat Ryder. We've been living in this rented house for over 2 years now. A minimal paranormal activity. My fiance and I have had our fair share of spiritual run-ins with residual energies, but never in this house. Well, the first incident happened when I was just doing a few chores, picking up a few things here and there. I heard a very vivid meow from behind me in the room. Turn around and nothing's there. I go to see where Ryder is, and he is dead asleep. I just shrug it off. I just assumed it was my mind playing tricks on me. Second instance, about a week after that. Another meow. Sounded like it came from another room. Ryder was in the room with me, asleep. Okay, maybe it was a stray cat outside. I shrugged it off. Either the next day or the day after, I'm in my gaming room just playing on my PC when I feel what I thought to be a tip of Ryder's tail brush against my calf. There's nothing there. The booger is asleep like 3 feet away from me on his cat tower. At this point, I'm like, we have a friggin' cat ghost. And I tell my fiance, well, they are always the one to rationalize it first before jumping to, oh my god, ghosties. So they pretty much just shrug it off as air pressure change and a stray cat outside. Well, the following week, they heard it. Told me about it. I feel a bit relieved, because now I know it's not just me. Fast forward today, heard it again. Just a single meow. Fiance wants to check the attic for cats. I know what I heard. I know what I felt. They heard it too. But yeah, babe, sure, let's check the attic. The ghost cat activity always happens when our cat is asleep. So I jokingly came up with the conclusion that either Ryder astral projects in his sleep or we have a ghost cat. Not really sure what to do about it. Well, really I'm not bothered by it, and I don't necessarily want to get rid of it. Mostly just wanted to share and see if there was anything I could do to make it more comfy. Thanks for reading. Number 5. Hello, I'm sorry. If maybe this isn't the right community to ask, but something happened very strange this evening. I was going to sleep with my 18-month-old boy at 3 p.m. In the room, I made a dark environment so that he can sleep. We fell asleep. I myself really went very deep into sleep since I was so tired. I had a long week. At 5 p.m. or so, my wife called me on Messenger. My phone was on silent, so it only vibrated. Took me a while to realize. The strange thing, even if it wasn't with my face pointed at the side of the bed, I somehow saw a creature, hairy and a little with human-like face, but more whiter, running from beside our bed into the room where the Christmas tree is. Strange fact that it looked like the night hag from that sleep paralysis painting I found online. I felt like he watched us sleep, which is strange. More strange is that when my boy got up at 2 minutes later, he was looking at the window. Even if he couldn't see outside, he saw the room dark and began to say, boo, boo, and he was irritated by something and kept looking at the window or the corner of the room where the furniture is, and he climbed on the pillow close to my head. Anyways, I know it's a sleep paralysis-like reference, but how can that be possible since I never got into that state? I woke up moving instantly, trying to reach my phone, which was in my pocket. What could it have been? I also never had a sleep paralysis, and I consider myself a very open-minded person. I know a lot of strange things, and I mean a lot. Thanks for your time. Number 6. I saw wizards. What do I mean by that? There are such things as Sasquatch, dragons, fairies, gnomes, and wizards because I've seen them. These, lastly, have a story to tell. I was visited by wizards when I was a toddler and just beginning preschool or younger. I remember when I was around that age, I was scared by my uncle in a disguise up to the point of making a magical explosion as an accident. Wizards appear offering to me to a school just like Harry Potter. Since I live in Mexico, they took me to a Ivermorny, not Hogwarts. It is a very creepy place. North American wizard, especially from the magical government, abuse a spell that produces a blue poison capable of undoing magic. They dress themselves in that foggy energy, and it is sickening. I got eventually expelled from the place for asking about limerence and refusing mental control spells on me. I still possess the ability to see rarely the magical world. The magical government in North America, with their poison, can make a wizard unable to perform magic permanently. They did the procedure on me, but it never worked. Yet, it has me feel weak. I was abused by these wizards by being followed and spied on. They are paranoid about staying secret. They even made spells to impede me from using my magic like a cage. Even though I cannot manifest in the physical world, I still can affect only spirit. What surprises me most is how arrogant and narcissistic the magical government was. Once I could not fit in their model of a perfect brainwashed follower, I was thrown in the trash, and they tried to erase magic from myself. And they did this spell even on a toddler. Number 7. So a bunch of years ago, when I was around 15, I was having things start happening and I didn't know why, what any of it was. The only thing I want to say or ask, which has been on my mind to try to figure out, what is this? It happened a couple of nights, not quite back to back, but had this little creature jump up at the foot of my bed. I can't really describe it too well as it's years back now, but it had a higher pitched voice, not quite a kid, not quite a grown up. But the biggest thing that it would do is ask me questions throughout the night. The biggest one that it would ask me about was my name, which I did not say any of those times it asked, and would always tilt its head whenever it asked it. I would never really move out of that spot, and I would always be around, and it would always be around the same time. There were times that I was trying to fall asleep and ignore that. It wasn't there. But then it would keep asking me more and more questions like, do you hear me? Are you tired? Are you trying to go to sleep? Again, I wouldn't answer it at all this time. The last time I remember seeing it is when I started responding by saying, hi there, I don't want to talk tonight, maybe some other time. It didn't say anything and just felt it staying there. I don't remember anything else after that. I know I'm also new here, but I want to mainly see if anyone else has had the same thing or something similar, because I want to find out what it could have been. My wife says maybe a fairy or a fae, but I feel like it looked way different than what they would look like. These were some weird, crazy stories. I hope y'all enjoyed these. I will see y'all this Saturday for creepy pasta time. I love y'all so much. Remember, it's scary out there. Please like and subscribe.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross